Ham Hams Unite was one of the last North American Game Boy Color games to be released, third last to be exact, the other two being Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors. For those that are unaware of Hamtaro, it was a slice of life anime that would begin airing on the Toonami block of Cartoon Network. This block mainly focused on action-oriented cartoons, not just animes like Dragon Ball Z and Gundam, but JackieChan Adventures and Batman Beyond. Jason DeMarco, the co-creator of the Toonami block, has expressed that Hamtaro was forced upon them by Cartoon Network to appeal to kids in the hopes that it would become the next big thing. Just over 5 months after airing on Toonami, Hamtaro would be moved out of the lineup and would finish off its US run on June 25, 2003, with 3 specials released after the final episode. During that time, Hamtaro was able to get 3 games released in North America, and in this video I'll be focusing on Ham Hams Unite. Let's get started. You're immediately thrown right into the world of Hamtaro, being Hamtaro himself. You can change his name, you know, the character this game is based off of, but bitches Ham Hams Unite doesn't seem to be as kid-friendly as Hamtaro. I want to state that I'm not complaining about this. It's nice to have the option to feel like the character is yourself, but I would rather just play as the titular character. Once you've established your name, the leaders of the Ham Ham, which is a group of hamsters that are a part of a community, will greet you. This is Boss, one of about a dozen hamsters in this game that actually have a name. He will ask you to go look for the missing Ham Hams. If you haven't figured it out by now, we need to unite all the Ham Hams and they're all missing. It is our job to bring them back. Now, before we go looking for them, Boss briefly gives us a tutorial about how this game works. We're introduced to Ham Chats, which is a language created by the Ham Hams to talk amongst each other. There are 85 words in total that you'll discover throughout the game, but in the beginning, Boss will go over the 4 most important words. Hamha, which is used to start conversations or greet other hamsters. Hif Hif, which is used to pick up items off the ground such as rocks or sunflower seeds. Tac Q, which is used to hit hamsters or objects as demonstrated in the tutorial, while lastly Dig Dig, which is used to search disturbed spots in the ground, or to return to the world map. There are other uses for these words, but for now we're only taught how to use them this way. I talked about the world map. This is how you'll be traveling to locations. There are a total of 7 of them. In each location, excluding the clubhouse, there will be 2 Ham Hams that you need to bring back. Going into each location is one of my favorite parts of this game. Each area you go to is filled with so much life and creativity. You have a sand dome, a giant slide, a secret garden, a jungle gym. That's all in one location. There's a junkyard, a computer room, a science room, shrine. You get the point. There's a lot of areas in each location that separate itself from all the other areas in the game. It helps create this world that you can kind of just sink yourself into. Plus, each location has its own background music. I don't really know much about music, but I can say that during my time playing the game, I never lowered the volume. It never got to a point that it annoyed me or I got frustrated trying to solve the puzzle in the game and the music added to the frustration. If anything, the music helped keep me calm. As amazing the world and music is in this game, there is something I think tops it. It's the Ham Chats. Each individual word has its own sprite and sound that goes along with it. It's given a lot of personality to express what you're trying to say. It reminds me of sign language. I was told that it's one thing to sign a word, it's another to add your personality to it. It's a very expressive language, and that's what Hamchat reminds me of. Each word is filled with personality and expression. I don't need to know what the word means by reading it, because looking at it tells me all I need to know. Now, there are some words that don't exactly reflect what you think they should, but they're still given love and detail, all 85 of them. To me, learning each word was my favorite part of this game, and that's where the puzzle aspect of this game comes into play. Initially, you are only given your 4 words that you are taught by Boss, and some additional words are thrown into your book where you store these Ham Chats. Throughout the entire game, you are using what you've already learned to unlock more ham chats. It's not always complicated. It can be as simple as saying ham hop to a hamster who gives away a free word, to making sure you choose the right word when interacting with someone. I really enjoy some of the puzzle aspects as well to this game. When interacting with other hamsters, choosing a wrong word doesn't lock you out from progressing, as you can just interact with them again and choose another answer until you get it right. There is no punishment for being wrong. An example of it would be my interaction with the Ham Maxwell. In order to bring him back to the clubhouse, I need to cheer him up. How do I do that? Slip in some mud. Did I know that was going to happen? No, but when you're allowed to try every option, it lets you realize that there can be different uses for these words. A perfect example is when I got stuck with this hamster that passed out near this puddle of water. To wake this hamster up, you need to use dig in the water. Hamtaro will then throw water on the unconscious hamster to wake him up. The game was letting me know that there was a different use for these words than what we've currently been using them for up to this point. There are many puzzles as simple as these and some more challenging all throughout the game. One in particular is a fetch quest that requires multiple trades with multiple different hamsters in multiple different locations. I'm being as vague as I possibly can to avoid spoilers for this quest, just in case you want to play it yourself, but I can tell you during my first playthrough it was my favorite part of the game. Getting an item, figuring out what to do with it, and interacting with all the hamsters on this journey. I do want to point out, not all the puzzles in this game are great. I gave an example of the puddle being a way to show the player how to use a word in a way that you wouldn't have considered at first glance. In the location The Ruins, there's a second floor that you can go to, and this hamster even alludes to a way to get there. The problem is there's no way to figure out how to get there. What you're supposed to do is tack cue this wall, which is actually a rubber tire, and bounce back onto that second lower floor. I just don't understand how we're supposed to know that if you haven't taught us this throughout the game. You can go to the room next to this area, which has a sunflower seed on a car that you can't get to unless you tack cue the tire in this room, which could be our hint to figure out the previous area. But again, how are we supposed to know that we can interact with this tire in that way? Similar to the toy car in this room, if you go up to it and sticky, you can move the car out of the way and interact with this hamster for a new word. But how are we supposed to know that we need to interact with this object? It forces the player to spend time needlessly going over every object to avoid missing something. Then we have the worst puzzle in the entire game. Earlier I mentioned how you can fail an interaction, but you're allowed to try again until you get it right. The same can be said for this interaction with this hamster on this rooftop. The problem is when I played it for the first time, if you interact with this hamster and leave the screen, it resets the puzzle. What puzzle, you may ask? You need to use all 4 of your ham chats on this hamster to unlock it. During my first playthrough, he smacked me, and I decided to leave the screen to see what else was going on in the area. When I returned and used the other 3 words, nothing happened. You were supposed to use all 4 in one interaction. How are we, the player, supposed to know this? You'll be spending a lot of unnecessary time combing through each location to see if you missed anything, then realized it was something as simple as using the wrong word. Even though some of the puzzles in this game are hard to understand, some might be too simple and some might be just right. What's perfect about this game is that they were able to bring the world of Hamtaro into the palms of your hands. It's almost as if you had an extended playable episode in your Game Boy, leaving you wanting more, which you can. With the Game Boy Advance sequel, Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak. While the game does look more accurate to the TV show in Heartbreak, there's something about the color palette in Unite that I just love more. Thank you for watching this video. I tried my best to avoid some of the puzzles in this game, just in case you wanted to play it yourself. I do recommend this game if you enjoy Hamtaro or you just love cute, adorable hamsters solving puzzles. Please let me know if you played this game before and if you struggled as much as I did when I played it for the first time. Also, that hamster dancing with a nut in his hand lives rent-free in my mind.